What do we want?
Free Britney.
When do we want it?
Now.
That chant, it really echoed, didn't it? All around the world, it became this huge movement way beyond just pop culture.
Absolutely.
So today on the deep dive, we're not just looking at Britney Spears, the pop icon, but the whole complex legal and, well, human story behind her conservatorship.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there.
Definitely. We've gone through, honestly, a mountain of sources for you, everything from excerpts from that Framing Britney Spears documentary.
Which was eye-opening for a lot of people.
Right? And fan testimonials, legal analyses, tons of media coverage. Our mission here is really to trace that journey. How does someone go from being this global phenomenon to being under such strict legal control?
And uncover the nuances, those moments where you kind of go, aha.
Exactly. And look at the bigger questions it brings up about fame, about personal freedom, the legal system itself. It's not just a celebrity story, is it? It's really about control, identity, and the public's role in something so deeply personal.
And what's fascinating right from the start is how themes of control were woven into her story, both her own fierce desire for it and how others constantly tried to define her or hold her back.
Okay, let's start there then, right at the beginning, because she burst onto the scene with this incredible energy, but her background was, well, pretty humble. Kentwood, Louisiana.
Yeah, described as a tiny, sleepy little town, right in the middle of the Bible Belt, just this ordinary place.
But her talent was obvious super early on, right? Singing in the church choir at 5.
Yeah. And her parents saw it immediately. You read about her dad, Jamie, really struggling financially,
right?
But making huge sacrifice. The sources talk about them having to rob Peter to pay Paul, basically just shuffling money around to pay for singing lessons, auditions, even taking the train to New York because they couldn't afford flights. It shows this intense family focus on making her dream happen.
That drive definitely paid off. You had the Mickey Mouse Club,
which she apparently loved and was gutted when it ended.
Yeah. And then boom, baby, one more time. The video, the schoolgirl uniform, the media at the time definitely saw it as sexual in nature.
And that's where it gets interesting culturally. It captured this dichotomy, didn't it? It clicked with 12, 13-year-olds because she kind of embodied that tension lots of teenage girls feel, wanting to be grown up but still being a kid.
So the power wasn't...
Not entirely. Sources suggest the real pull was her control and command over herself and her space. She projected this sense of knowing exactly what she was doing.
And she felt that way too. There's that quote from her, "I know all the ins and outs of what I'm doing. I know about all the contracts. I'm not just some girl who's listening to my man."
That's pretty self-aware for someone so young, asserting herself in the business side.
But how did that square with how the media saw her, even back then?
Well, that's the clash, isn't it? Despite her saying that, the media immediately started questioning her, innocence versus sexuality.
Always the way.
Yeah. And it contrasted sharply with what people close to her saw. Felicia, her assistant for years.
Right, I remember her.
She said point blank, Britney was the boss. Definitely in control, not some puppet. So there was already this gap between her reality and the public story being built.
Okay, this is where context becomes key. Her rise happened right during that charged moment with the Clinton-Lewinsky scandal.
Exactly. Suddenly everyone's talking very publicly about sex morality.
And that somehow bled over into our interest in Britney Spears.
Totally. And you immediately see this stark double standard. The media fixated on her sexy Lolita look, asking about her virginity constantly, while the boy bands she was working with, nothing like that scrutiny. It just highlights this deeply ingrained sexist lens she was viewed through.
And it got worse after the Justin Timberlake breakup.
Oh, yeah. He completely took control of the narrative.
The sources are pretty clear on that. She got painted as the school slut. It was described as a pure male revenge fantasy.
The backlash was intense. Remember the Maryland governor's wife saying she wanted to shoot Britney Spears?
That was insane for being a bad example.
Yeah. The public perception just turned incredibly hostile, fueled by that narrative.
And how did Britney react?
Well, you see her pushing back, saying things like, I'm not here to, babysit her kids.
Defiant.
Yeah. And later, maybe more reflectively, saying, at some point in our lives, we stop trying to please everybody. You sense this growing exhaustion with the impossible expectation.
And the fame, the scrutiny, it just kept ramping up, didn't it? Especially after she married Kevin Federline's sons.
The paparazzi explosion was unreal. Photos selling for reportedly up to $1 million.
Just for a photo.
Yeah. She described the fear, paparazzi banging on the windows, following her everywhere. It became this constant, terrifying chase.
And that fed right into the whole unfit mother narrative.
Absolutely. Specific incidents, often just snapshots in time, driving with her baby in her lap, tripping outside a hotel.
Which sound awful out of context.
Right. They were seized upon, amplified. She explained later she was just desperately trying to get away from the photographers, felt they were taking cheap shots, creating dangerous situations.
Then came what felt like a very public unraveling. People speculated about postpartum depression after having 2 kids so close together.
The divorce from Federline, the custody battle.
And then those really visible signs of distress, shaving her head.
Saying, I don't want anyone touching me. I'm tired of everybody touching me.
That felt like such a ROM.
It really did. Some people interpreted it as her saying, I quit. Like that person is gone. A desperate attempt to reclaim some control over her own body when everyone felt entitled to it.
It wasn't just a breakdown, it was a statement.
You could definitely see it that way. A scream for control.
Then the umbrella incident with the paparazzi car, stints in rehab, and during this really low point, this guy Sam Lutfi shows up.
Yeah, described as a self-invented guru type. He attached himself to her when she was incredibly vulnerable.
And the allegations against him were serious, taking over her life, her house, finances, even drugging her.
Yeah, it led to a restraining order event. It paints a picture of someone really exploiting her vulnerability.
So that leads us to the breaking point. Police called to her house. She refuses to hand over the kid.
Barricades herself in, ends up being rushed to the hospital, placed on that involuntary 5150 hold.
Which is a short-term psychiatric hold, right? Like 72 hours.
Typically, yeah. For evaluation if someone's deemed a danger.
Yeah.
And that moment, early 2008, that's when Jamie Spears files for the temporary conservatorship.
Okay, let's explain that for listeners. A conservator, it's usually for elderly people or someone really unable to manage their life.
Right. But for a young working pop star like Britney, extremely unusual. It raised red flags.
And the fact that Jamie, her father, who sources say wasn't a huge figure in her life.
Exactly. He becomes the main conservator. But Britney apparently tried to fight that right away. An attorney, Adam Streisand, tried to represent her.
And she wanted someone else.
Clearly. She asked for a professional, somebody independent, not her dad, but the judge said no.
On what grounds?
Based on a medical report that no one seems to have seen, which supposedly said she couldn't even hire her own lawyer.
Wow. So she was denied the right to choose her own representation from the very start.
Pretty much. It highlights that initial paradox trapped in the system before it even fully began.
And the control granted by the conservatorship was immense.
Totally extends control over who she saw, her security, medical records, doctors, where she lived, credit cards.
And her entire career. Recording, touring, TV deals.
Everything. A complete legal takeover of her life and finances.
But the irony is, almost straight away, she goes back to work.
Right. The person supposedly unable to manage her affairs is guest starring on TV, releasing albums, touring the world.
From the outside, it looked like a comeback. A terrific path, getting that wholesome, good brand again. The machine was running.
And making a lot of money. That Vegas residency, piece of me.
Huge success. Earning what, like $310,000 a show?
Nearly $1 million a week, estimates suggest.
And the key detail, Jamie Spears, the conservator,
was approved by the court to get 1.5% of the gross revenues from it.
That just feels...
It's a detail you can't ignore. It forces that question. When that kind of money is involved, you have to scrutinize the motives of everyone involved.
Her life became this guarded universe, right? A small inner circle controlling everything.
Yeah, and it created this environment where you wonder about conflicts of interest. Was keeping the conservatorship going more profitable than ending?
We did get that one heartbreaking glimpse from her in that MTV documentary.
Yeah, where she said, if I wasn't under the restraints, I'd feel so liberated and feel like myself.
When I tell them the way I feel, it's like they hear me, but they're really not listening.
It's just profoundly sad. Shows that feeling of powerless.
But then things started to shift publicly, didn't they, with Instagram?
Right. Suddenly she had this direct channel showing parts of her life that she wants us to see, not just the filtered version.
And the fans noticed. The Britney's Gram podcast started.
Over-dissecting everything. Finding those cryptic posts, like a hole cut in a wall captioned, "There's always a way out."
It fueled this idea that she was sending coded messages.
Yeah, this collective search for the truth beneath the surface. And then the alarm bells really went off.
With the co-conservator, Andrew Wallet.
Yeah, he petitions for a raise and calls the conservatorship a hybrid business model, profiting from her increased well-being.
A business model, that's wow.
It was shocking, framing legal protection as a profit machine. It made people ask, is this really about her welfare?
Then the weird cancellation of the Domination residency. She just walks past the stage, doesn't perform, leaves.
And disappears from Instagram. That me time post with an emoticon, not an emoji. Fans knew something.
It felt deeply unsettling. And then came the bombshell, the voicemail.
The paralegal's voicemail. leaked, went viral, revealing she'd been in a mental health facility since January.
And crucial,
not a decision she made. That contradicted everything they were being told about her autonomy.
that voicemail lit the fuse, didn't it?
Absolutely. Britney's Graham did an emergency episode. It spread like wildfire, and the first Free Britney protests happened outside the courthouse.
Fans felt like it clicked. Time to jump.
But Jamie Spears just dismissed them, right?
Yeah.
Called them a joke, conspiracy theorists.
Which probably just made people more suspicious.
You'd think so. It raised questions about transparency. What aren't they telling us?
And the family drama started spilling out more publicly, too. Kevin Federline getting a restraining order against Jamie.
After an incident with one of the sons, then Britney's mom, Lynn, wanting to be involved in medical decisions, wanting Jamie out as conservator of the estate.
So cracks were appearing in that unified front?
Big time. Which led to that huge pivot in August 2020. Britney's lawyer, Sam Ingham, finally speaks out publicly.
What did he say?
That Britney wanted a neutral bank, Bessemer Trust, to handle her estate, not her father. And the real kicker, she welcomes and appreciates the informed support of her many fans and is vehemently opposed to her father trying to keep the fight hidden.
Wow. Direct acknowledgement of the movement. That must have been huge.
Game change. Then came the November 2020 hearing. Public allowed to listen in.
Fans taking notes on a Google Doc, sharing it live.
Incredible. And Ingham drops another bombshell. Britney is afraid of her father.
Afraid of him.
And she refuses to work until he is no longer in control of her career. That's not just personal fear. That's a strategic move, using her power as a performer.
What did the judge do?
Declined to suspend Jamie right then, but did appoint Bessemer Trust as co-conservator. So a small win, but Jamie was still there.
Despite her saying she was afraid of him.
Exactly. And here's the central paradox highlighted by Ingham himself. He called her a high-functioning conservatee.
High-functioning? How does that work?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? If you're high-functioning enough to say, I'm afraid of my dad, I won't work if he's in charge.
Maybe you don't need a conservatorship at all.
Precisely. It challenges the whole legal basis. Conservatorships are meant for people genuinely incapable of making decisions. It makes you ask, was this system actually protecting her or protecting itself and the money it generated? A gilded cage, basically.
It really makes you question the whole... We've covered so much ground today, charting this incredible arc from this seemingly confident pop star
to a symbol of this really complex fight for personal freedom.
Yeah.
And what stands out, I think, are the huge questions it raises for all of us, about what real control over your life means, especially under that kind of intense spot within these rigid legal structures.
How much do we really know about public figures, and what's our role as the public in how their stories get told or twisted?
Exactly.
So as you think about Britney's journey, everything we've dug into, we want to leave you with this image, this metaphor from her former assistant, Felicia.
Oh, yeah, the soap rose.
Right. She held up this beautiful pink rose, looked perfect, and said, see the pink rose, see how beautiful that is, watch. And then she crushed. It's just soap. That's all it is. It's just soap. Fold.
Powerful image. Things aren't always what they seem.
Exactly. This deep dive like that soap rose, it's an invitation, really, for you, the listener, to always look past the shiny surface, to question things, dig deeper, and understand that the reality, control, identity, freedom, it's almost always way more complicated than the pretty off.